The first style I will explain to you is the competitive negotiation style, also known as the disagreeable negotiation style or the distributive negotiation style. The competitive style is probably the easiest one to detect. You're out to win at all costs. It's often described as a win-lose approach, playing hardball. In this approach, one party is looking to get everything they want without giving anything in return that meets the needs of the other party. The competitive negotiation style is frequently described as the disagreeable negotiator. Dealing with a disagreeable negotiator opponent is considered tough and should be avoided if possible. If possible, look for alternative solutions to avoid a disagreeable negotiation. Use this style if you need to act fast, you are 100% sure you're right about the situation, you are dealing with an opponent who will abuse you if you show non-competitive behavior, or if the situation is important and an unpopular decision needs to be taken. And last but not least, if other negotiation styles are not possible. Potential downsides of the competitive negotiation style: fear of admitting ignorance of uncertainty, reduced communication and no opportunity to explore alternative solutions. You'll be surrounded by a yes team because it's tough to disagree with a competitive negotiator in your team. You might damage the relationship with your opponent, and you'll receive little commitment from your opponent, which adds risks to the implementation phase of your deal. Here is a distributive negotiation example. John is a 35-year-old procurement manager who works at a large global retailer in electronics. He is in charge of procuring air conditioners and is negotiating with a small supplier. John's company is responsible for 70% of the total sales of the air conditioning manufacturer. John calls the supplier and starts directly asking what he wants and needs. He is solely driven by his own goal and tends not to listen to the needs and wishes of the supplier. Within the negotiation, he uses his power to negotiate the terms that are good for him and his employer, despite several arguments from the supplier that the terms that John is asking for are not acceptable, due to potential risks. John is ignoring these arguments and he closes a deal that is great for him. Minus 15% on invoice pricing without any favors in return to the new deal. And he calls his boss proudly to share the news. Here is what John thinks. Great news, same product for a cheaper price, proud of my savings. But here is what the supplier thinks. We need to decrease our 70% dependency from John directly. Let's start looking for another partner to grow with. What we can learn from this is that the distributive negotiation from John leads to a win for his company on the short term, but in the long term, it puts the relationship and thus the security of a supply in danger. A quick win leads to a possible loss in the long term because not all parties are satisfied with the deal.